just kicked me out. I have no idea why. The whole thing just shut down and kicked me out. Couldn't even get back into the previous live stream. So I'm sorry about that. Can't even remember what I was talking about. We are back, Jeanette. I'm just going to wait for people to come back. Yeah. Hi, Nettie. Yeah, round 2 is so annoying because you have to do several things set up. Yeah. We were talking about fixing things, weren't we? Not everything is fixable in life. That's the thing, you know. I think we've done enough damage as it is. I think we can go on. Yeah. Hi there, Thomas. So annoying, but let's move forward. Yeah, also what happens, because as you're talking and you get into a bit of a flow, and then it kind of disturbs your flow, the energy dips, all of that. But hey, there we go. Thank you for rejoining me. There are 35 of you now, so whether everybody comes back, I don't know, but hey ho. So, it's really thrown me. It really has. So, ask me a question to get me restarted, please.
Richard, can you go on?
Yeah, I can go on because I'm a trooper, I think you'll find. Yeah. Takes more than that to put me off my stride. No, it's just annoying, that's all. One of those things. There have been a few technical issues recently. We've got a slight problem with our internet, and you'll be in the middle of doing something and it will just cut you off, cut the connection to the Wi-Fi off, and then won't allow you to reconnect. Yes, Linny, the loyal ones, thank you. Oh no, Leslie, you'll have to earn it back. What would I like to see in Kew Gardens to improve it? Paul and I have always said that the worst part of Kew is, hate to say it, it's the yummy mummies with their screaming children, but they've kind of brought in a children's park, a children's area. So that's kind of solved that problem.
Well, no, they should just put them all in there and then just padlock them. And
lock them in there.
Yeah.
But the other thing that isn't so good is the food offering. We've had a couple of experiences where the food has not been great. You pay quite a lot of money. And we're talking about simple things like a sandwich, We had to hand a sandwich back. Hi, Claire. We had to hand a sandwich back once because it was dry. It was stale. Blech. And yeah, that I would improve the food offering. There is a sort of newish sort of cafe restaurant. We ate there when we took Vivi to Kew, and that wasn't bad. Although you had a burger with vegan cheese on it.
Yeah.
And the cheese was disgusting.
Yeah.
But I had a macaroni cheese, which was good. So yeah. Best time to visit Kew, midweek mornings. Yeah, get there for 10. That's the best time. And also plan your route, because there are certain areas that get really busy. There are certain areas that are really quiet. There are some areas that people never go to, mainly the Arboretum, the sort of far corner with the woodland walk, which is like a boardwalk that takes you through a sort of wild area. People very rarely go there. So there are certain places that you can go and just get lost in the forest, you know. Yeah, it depends what you're going to queue for as well. If you're just going to walk, then there's plenty of quiet places to walk, and you can go off the paths as well. You don't have to stick to the paths. But if you're going for the flowers and the plants, then there are certain areas. What's that long, is it called the Long Walk?
Yeah.
Where they've got all the planted up borders. You've got the areas in front of the palm house. You've got the rose garden. So, you know, it depends on why you're going, really. We go to walk mainly, but we sort of time it certain times of the year. We know the roses are going to be out. And of course, also as members, they do start early opening. When do they start it?
May.
Is it May? When it opens at 8. So it's really quiet and you feel as though you've got the whole place to yourself, you know. Just catching up with the comments. Well, there's a lot in Kew, Sarah. There's a lot of things to see. And I would imagine, you know, as children, you probably miss quite a lot, you know. I've always kind of enjoyed big sort of gardens. I remember when Alton Towers was not really a theme park. Now, Alton Towers, to those of you who maybe don't know, is a huge theme park in, I think it's Staffordshire. It's very famous now. It's kind of a little bit like Disneyland, you know, but without huge different worlds, you know. It's a massive theme park. When we first started going, when we were children, it was mainly gardens with a few little rides as an attraction for kids. So yeah, I've always loved walking around beautiful gardens. I think it gives you that sort of dreamlike sense, you know. We've been in Kew a couple of times where we've kind of got a little bit lost and just found ourselves surrounded by trees and greenery and the birds, you know, and it's been just magical, you know, just lovely, peaceful. If the planes aren't going over, which they weren't today, I think I've mentioned that before, they were taking off, landing in a different direction. Derek, were the planes going over when you went? Yeah, there's a few photos, Claire, on Facebook, on Richard and Paul. Stacey. Well, yeah. Somebody said, are you gonna why not start selling things, you know, food items? Why not open up a little cafe, a little bakery? Yeah, I'm not gonna do that. No. Just catching up. Hi, Nancy. Oh, yeah. The Palm House always seems to have kids in it doing some kind of school project. We had some kids there one day and they were doing some kind of alphabet game thing, weren't they?
Yeah.
They had to go through the alphabet and identify things of that letter or something. I don't know what it was. Was it plants?
Plants of that letter.
Yeah. Derek, the treetop walkway. Yeah, I've managed to overcome my wobbliness on that because it is quite high up. And I think the thing that really got me the first time I went up there was the mesh floor that you can see through. Hello. And the mesh floor is metal and it sometimes sort of pings
It's
and
firmer
moves.
now.
Wow. but I've kind of overcome my fear now. Well, yeah, I mean, it depends, Angela. It depends on when you go. If you go early, for early opening, there's literally nobody there. Um, and it depends on where you walk. We tend to avoid all the yummy mummies and the screaming kids. We walk in the opposite direction.
And the screaming yummy mummies.
Yeah. Just catching up. Yeah, Catherine, I used to go to Alton Towers quite regularly. Me and my friend Mark used to go. We'd drive up there, and yeah, I remember the corkscrew when it came in. I also remember Blackpool when the Revolution was first put in. I think that was the first roller coaster that went, upside down. And then, of course, Alton Towers topped it with the corkscrew. And then they had something called the Thunder Loop or Thunder Looper. I remember that one. I used to love thrill rides, absolutely loved them. Whereas now, you'd have to pay me to go on. No, no way. Especially after that accident at Alton Towers. No, thank you. I'm not going to do it. Oh, Derek, that's funny. Yeah, I loved them as well. Not anymore, though. Windsor. Now, Windsor's on our list of places to go, Tony.
Yeah.
Yeah. I have been to Windsor Castle many, many years ago. And Windsor itself is a very pretty town. So that's something that we'd like to do. We always get a glimpse of the castle from the M4 when we're driving to Avebury. Yeah. Ah, well, that's good, Derek, because very often they are landing right over Kew, more often than not. But I think this week they've got them on a different trajectory. So, yeah. Yeah. Yes, Derek, the flexing mesh floor. Hmm. Yeah. Membership, Linny, is the way to go with Q for us because we live in the vicinity. It's a 20-minute car journey away. So for us, membership is really worthwhile because we do visit many, many times, as you all know, because we share our visits with you. So it's worth it for us.
We must go 10 times a year.
At least 10 times a year. And so it kind of pays for itself. Have we still got Historic Royal Palaces membership?
No.
We didn't really use that much, did we? We went to Hampton Court a couple of times. But yeah. I'm not sure how much the concessions are at Kew, but I think there's quite a good discount. Yeah. Hello, David. Thank you. Thank you very much, David. St. George's Chapel. Yeah. I remember visiting St. George's Chapel and I had a slightly strange experience. I had a real...
Did you meet Anne Boleyn?
No, I had a real, very, very strong sense of deja vu. And then when I got home, because I was living at home at the time, and I'd been down to London to visit a friend, and we'd been to Windsor. And when I got back, I was talking to my dad, and apparently we had a relative that sang in the choir at St. George's Chapel. Apparently, Claire, do you know anything about this? That's what my dad told me. Just checking the comments. Sorry, everybody. So many comments again. We've got 70 people watching at the moment, 71 people. Thank you very much for tuning in. Well, yeah, you do see Q through us, and we'll continue to share those things with you. Yeah. No, Claire, I mean, I remember Dad telling me, I don't know who the relative was, but I can't explain the feeling I had. I really felt like I'd been there before. Um, and it's one of those moments that kind of takes you aback a little bit, you know? Um, and it's just a real strong feeling. But that was the first time that I'd been there. Inherited memories, yeah, this is an interesting concept, that memory can be in your DNA, actually in your DNA. Interesting. Hi, Debbie Ann. Ooh, the ISS, Tony. Ooh, I love seeing the ISS go over. I really do. We've seen it a few times. And I know at certain points when you see it sort of move along, it can sort of flash in the sunlight. The sun obviously is set. But as it goes around the curve, you sort of see it flare a little bit, don't you? Which is, I think, is amazing. Absolutely fantastic. We can see normally a few satellites go over. If we sit out in the back garden in the summer, there's quite a few satellites pass overhead. In fact, we sat out with Vivi, didn't we, and saw a couple.
Yeah.
When we went to
13.
Swanage in the summer.
13 is my maximum.
13, yeah. And we saw that weird UFO that night, didn't we?
Yeah.
Do you remember when Angie and Paul were staying with us that night?
Yeah.
We saw and Angie saw it as well. We saw something move and then take literally a right angle. Yeah, really weird. Leslie, that would drive me up the wall. Could be a past life, Nancy. I don't know. Who knows? I've never seen the Starlink. I'm not sure how I feel about those Starlink satellites. I think we're getting to the point, aren't we, that there's so much stuff up there, including the satellites and all the junk. I was reading something about if one of the larger pieces hits a smaller piece and then that's sent off in a different direction, it could hit another piece and could actually cause a sort of runaway effect where everything basically just goes off trajectory, you know, and everything starts to fail. And of course, we now have come to rely upon satellites. You know, isn't it crazy to think that when we were kids, there were hardly any up there? There were only a few, weren't there?
Yeah.
You know, I mean, just crazy, really. Our reliance on this kind of technology. Landlines. They're getting rid of all the landlines now, or have got rid of them. I think that's a big mistake. I really do. Aliens. Yeah, I've never seen it, Claire. Never seen the. Yeah, I think to me, it's just a form of pollution. It really is. It's a form of, pollution in the sky. There are people that live in cities that have never seen the stars, you know. I mean, I'm from the northwest, and I certainly remember as a child being able to see a lot of stars in the sky at night. I had a telescope as well as a child. I was fascinated by the stars. Whereas here we can only pick out the brightest ones. Luckily for us, we've got quite a dark back garden, so we can see a reasonable amount. We did see the aurora when that happened, which was how long ago? Was it
About a year ago.
a year ago or 2 years ago?
Yeah, about 2 years, year and a half.
Yeah.
It was the summer, wasn't it?
Yeah. Or was it May? I can't remember. Sputnik, of course, Jeanette. Yeah. Oh no, Caroline. Hope you're both okay. Yeah, but the thing is, with mobile phones, they very often use signals that are eventually sort of bounced by satellites, aren't they? So the internet uses satellite in some countries, doesn't it? So yeah. Well, they're getting rid of them here. They sent us a kit. We're getting rid of your landline. Plug this into the back of your router and plug your phone into it. Well, I don't want my phone sitting on the router.
And it was the tiniest cable.
I don't want that. So we just don't have a landline now. Yeah, that program was really good on Voyager. Aren't they? Isn't Voyager 1 a light day away now?
Yeah.
Yeah. Amazing. I mean, we've done some amazing things with technology. We really have, that have benefited the human race. But I think we just need to be satisfied with what we've got now. Where else can it go to? When we were kids, we dreamt, I think every child dreamed about having a computer in their pocket. And of course, now we have, everybody's got a smartphone. Well, not everybody, but a lot of people have got smartphones. And don't they say there's more technology in a smartphone than there was in the Moonlander? But my thing is, where do we go from here? If you look back at mobile phones, they started off as a brick. Then they got a little bit smaller. I've still got my Motorola, was it an M301? I think it was the M301 with a sort of pull down little thing at the bottom and an aerial. And it had like a charging cradle with a huge battery on the back. I've still got that. Then they went smaller and smaller. The Nokia 3310, something like that, whatever it was. I think we've still got one of those knocking around somewhere. And then they've started getting bigger again, So where does it go from here? You've seen, I don't know, the sort of sci-fi shows with these sort of see-through ones. Maybe it'll be a see-through phone next. I don't know. Maybe it'll have a holographic screen. There's a computer now with a sort of extending screen. I saw that the other day. Very bizarre. Just catching up with the comments. Gosh, lots of comments. Thank you. Linny, people do. Yeah, they just want more and more and more. And the problem is human nature combined with the greed of corporations. They know what human nature is. They study all of this stuff to work out their next moves, how they can catch people. Essentially, the world is filled with people that are easily swayed by stuff, easily swayed by marketing and advertising. And once you catch somebody, you've got to keep them. And I think that's what Apple has done, with the iPhone. We had an Apple computer many, many years ago, but we've never had iPhones. We've always had basic Android phones that do what they need to do and that's it. And we've never paid out a lot of money for them either. We always get the model that was current a few years past, you know, because that's all we need. That's all we need, you know. And we do need our phones because we do use them for our work, which is social media. Yeah. Yeah, Derek, it was the same when I was at work. They kind of phased out the desk phones. We still had them if we needed them. But everything, like you say, was done through Teams, which, oh, I still have PTSD when I hear that ringtone for Teams. It makes me shudder. Ugh. It used to drive me up the wall. It really did. Well, Leslie, I think it's to do with the positioning of the lights because our lights here are LED, but they all have shields. So the light is pointed downwards. Very often the traditional sodium lamps, the orange lights, they didn't have proper shields on them. So the light, I mean, you could see it in London. In fact, many parts of London still have the sodium lights, and you can see that orange glow in the sky. So at least with the ones we've got in the street, the light is directed. You can see it on a foggy day. The beam of light goes down. So that's stopping it from bleeding into the sky. But it's the amalgamation of all the other lights. Look at the city at night. You know, you only have to go into London. There's lights everywhere, absolutely everywhere. Office blocks fully lit. Why? When I was at the BBC, we would have zoned lights with sensors. And it was quite eerie because when you did a night shift and there were maybe only 3 of you on the switchboard, if you were all sat fairly quietly and didn't move, the lights would all go off. And somebody would have to get up to turn a light on, you know. So I think all office blocks should have that kind of lighting if they haven't already. I'm sure they haven't already because you see them, you know. Yeah, I mean, it's ridiculous, really, isn't it? Yeah, Claire, I think you're right. I don't think it's just young people either. I think there are plenty of mature people who are living their life through devices. And I don't think it's such a bad thing if you've got balance, you know, if you're going out and doing stuff as well. Um, but, you know, I don't think it's just young people. But young people have grown up with it, you know. Oh, Mandy, that sounds lovely. Well, it's interesting, isn't it? Because with Stonehenge, they still don't really know what it was used for or why it was built. I think they've got the theories, and of course, it is aligned, you know. Same with Avebury as well. You know, we don't really know what it was for. What we do know is that when it was first built, Avebury, I'm talking about, the henge itself would have been gleaming white chalk. So it was clearly designed to stand out, you know. Stonehenge, the fact that it's so huge means it must have had some great importance. Clearly ceremonial, you know, but I love all of that. I really do. Well, there already are wristwatch phones, Debbie Ann. You can get them that connect to your phone, can't you? Those smart watches.
Well, they are phones.
Yeah. We're not that old, Sarah. Well, Yeah. But you see, Claire, it's interesting because I remember as a child going through phases of not really wanting to play outdoors um, because I was bored. And I think it's healthy to be bored because it helps spark off creativity, you know? So I think that's one of the problems today. The kids don't really get bored. They can always occupy themselves with something, even if it's mindless, you know? Whereas the adults tend to probably use it as a distraction from other things, you know, other
From
things
their
that need to be
kids.
done. Or, yeah, bizarrely, their own children. Just looking at the comments. Helen, yeah, microwaves. I remember my grandma talking about microwaves. Hi, Lexi. And saying, you know, if the microwaves leak, it'll cook you from the inside out. Yeah, it terrified me, that did. Hi, Lynn. Hi, Secret Garden. Hmm. Yeah, orange streetlights. Well, I think one street away have got the really old-fashioned shaped lights, and they're still sodium because it's a conservation area that way. Apparently, we're not in the conservation area, therefore we've got massive the LED street lights, you know, but at least, like I say, they point down the light, you know. So, Derek, it's interesting you say that because we have got one side of the street that is lit and the other side is not lit. And I'm sure at some point in the evening they dim the lights.
Well, they do.
Yeah,
11 o'clock.
they go dimmer. And yeah, I agree with you. I think it is darker, a little bit creepier. Yeah. But again, you know, they've got to weigh it up in terms of cost, haven't they? Because the local authorities just don't have the money anymore. Our council tax has gone up, talking about local authorities. Well, we're LED in here. I mean, we've got Philips Hue. We've had them for years and years and years, and we find them really good because you can have a really nice warm glow, you know. So we've not had any adverse effects from having LED around the house. I just like the controllable nature of LED. I think it's great to have different colors when you want them. You can have it really dimmed if you want it really low. So I like them. I think they're good. Thank you, Claire. Yeah, my crochet blanket is here, my little throw. But it's quite big, actually. Thank you, Stacey. I had to restart, Gail, because it kicked me out. YouTube just kicked me out. It's interesting, isn't it? This whole, you know, being occupied with things, doing stuff, crafting, cooking, cleaning. I mean, Paul and I generally are always doing something, you know. It's very, very rare that I will just sit here. I mean, I do like a bit of quiet time, but nowadays it will be doing a bit of crochet. Um, but I like to work towards something. So, you know, we sort of move through well, I certainly move through a roster of things that I do on a regular basis. And of course, now it all kind of links together to create what we provide on YouTube. So it's interesting how things sort of come together for me, have come together for me over time. It's like the whole music thing. I mean, I rarely get time to sit and do music, but when I do, I'm doing it because I'm creating a piece of music that's potentially going to go with a video. So it kind of becomes work. I did it the other day. I said to Paul, I need a new piece of music. I thought, just get the keyboard out and do it. And within 15 minutes, half an hour, I'd created a new piece, which was the little piece that I put on the Richard and Paul Cook video when I was showing the pastry. But I've been doing that for years and years and years. So I'm practiced enough that if I do need a new little piece of music to go with the video, I can create it quickly. So we're always kind of doing something from our roster of things that we enjoy. And I think that's quite healthy, because actually you're changing your focus to something different, which gives you a different workout in your brain, Yeah, there you go. We love our microwave. We use it for a lot of things. Yeah, that's the thing, Derek. That's what they do to save money. They've got to think of all these different ways. Well, our microwave is a combi, so it's got like an oven and a grill, so you can kind of finish food off and get it crisp, which is good, which changes the flavour. Yeah, Tony, we're the same. I've noticed a few houses that have got cool blue lights in their living room. Who does that? No. Horrible, cold and stark. We like a warm glow. These have always, I mean, you can just sort of see that sort of peachy glow. We've always got a warm glow. And that's how I like it, because it's the most flattering as well. Nobody wants big light on, do they? No. Just going through the comments. We've got 83 people with us at the moment. Thank you. I do like a little bit of quiet time, but not excessively, because if I have quiet time, I put my feet up. Within 5 minutes, I'm going to be asleep. I think also satisfying as well, satisfying activities that have a sense of a journey about them, and also a sense of completion, actually completing something and being able to say, I made that from scratch. It's the same with cookery as well, The only thing with cookery is within 5 minutes, it's gone. In our house, it has anyway. Countertop dishwashers. I think they're okay. I had a friend who had a countertop dishwasher years ago, before they were a thing, when they kind of first came out, and they used it quite a lot. So I think if there's just one person, I think they're quite good, or two people, Yeah, Derek, I agree with you. I think also having something to do helps quiet the mind as well, having a focus. I mean, the simple focus that you can do, just thinking about your breathing, thinking about what you can feel, smell, touch, taste, that can help bring the cortisol down, calm you down. Even better if you can extend it into a nice, relaxed, calm hobby, even better. Hi, Courtney. Oh, Anglesey, how lovely. We used to holiday on Anglesey when we were kids. Meringues, microwave meringues. Did I do that in a video? I'm sure I did. Yeah, they're fantastic microwave meringues. It's like a miracle, an absolute miracle. Leslie, you can get those USB chargeable lights now, lamps, can't you? That you can stick anywhere. I think they're really good. If I didn't have so many lamps already, I'd probably get a couple of those. But I believe, I mean, I love lamps and I love nice lighting. I believe in having a lamp in every corner, if you can do it. That's what I like. I don't like dark corners. I think I could live without a dishwasher quite easily. Be quite happy to wash up.
Well, we will do then. That'll save money.
Well, when I'm doing my cookery videos on my own, I always wash everything up. I think you'll find, Paul.
I think you'll also find that this morning you didn't put your cereal bowl in the dishwasher and I had
Oh,
to do it
well,
instead.
I wasn't sure that the dishwasher was accepting at that moment.
Richard's sad dishwasher journey.
I don't do much dishwasher stuff. I just do the cleaning the toilets, wiping everything down, dusting, vacuuming, the washing,
Once
the
a month,
the gardening.
once a year.
Yeah, right. Yeah, I mean, when I did cookery at school, we were taught specifically clear as you go, clean up as you go. Now, Sally, talking about Easter, I think we're going to do an Easter chocolate, Richard and Paul Cook chocolate Easter special. We've been talking about those little things we used to make as children, the little nests where you'd use shredded wheat coated in chocolate and make it into a little nest and put little mini eggs into it. We've been talking about those and things like cornflake cakes and Rice Krispie cakes, stuff like that. So I'm thinking, thank you, David. Thank you very much. See you soon. So I'm thinking we may do a Richard and Paul Cook Easter treats type thing. What do you think? Would you watch something like that? You've never seen them? Oh, they're lovely. We used to make them as children. In fact, I think we made them at school, at primary school. They're little nests with eggs in. Not rabbit eggs.
Bunnies.
Not rabbit eggs. Thank you, David. Yeah, I love them as well. I mean, that's the thing. You don't need to actually, they're not cook. You don't cook them. They're so easy to make for children and people like me. It's just melting things, isn't it? You just melt, bung it all together and put them in little, lovely little paper cases and then eat them a lot. Yeah. Chocolate's so expensive though. When we were kids, anything like that was made with cooking chocolate. Do you remember cooking chocolate? Do you remember cooking chocolate, Paul?
Yeah.
Yeah. What was different about cooking chocolate?
It was like American chocolate, waxy.
Oily.
Yeah.
Had a higher amount of oil, so it melted more easily.
Yeah.
Yeah. Cooking chocolate. Do they still do cooking chocolate?
Yeah.
I remember it was quite nice, but it wasn't nice to eat it from the packet. It was only nice once you'd actually melted it. Yeah, yeah, probably. But you see, any chocolate will melt, but it's when it starts to solidify too quickly. That's the problem, isn't it? So I think it melts and stays melted for longer.
It freezes, is it?
No, because in order for you to keep chocolate from setting again, you have to temper it, don't you?
Yeah, you do. But what happens? It seizes.
Seizes, it seizes. Exactly, Paul. Exactly right. Well, maybe we'll have to buy some good old-fashioned cooking chocolate, complete with horrible oils, rather than expensive chocolate. Or maybe I could come up with something with cocoa. But I do know the secret ingredient in those nests and in cornflake cakes. If you want them to be gooey, you add golden syrup. Oh, yeah. Good. Oh, dear. Helen, that sounds rather horrid. Yeah, maybe we'll pick up some little chocolate, Paul. Yeah. Okay, I think we'll do that. I think we will do some sweet Easter treats as a special. It'll be like our Christmas special, but with chocolate. Yeah, there we go. Well, we've got a little bit of golden syrup in the cupboard from, what did we make? Did it go in the treacle tart?
Yeah.
Yeah, there we go. No, dates, no. I'm never eating dates again. No. Because Paul got a big box of dates, a huge, lovely box of dates, and I thought, oh, fantastic. I'm going to do something with dates. Oh, well, you won't love them after I tell you this. So I was going to do a date cake. So I thought I'm going to whiz up the dates. So I'm just going to get them out. And I thought, what are those things? There's some like weird black things. Are they seeds, perhaps? No, they weren't seeds. They were insect eggs. No. So I'm never, ever, ever having a date again.
Leslie.
They do have bugs. Disgusting. I mean, the dates we used to have when we were kids, Claire, were those ones in the long packets that have been sort of covered in like a sugary sort of glaze with the long little fork thing that you used to.
Plastic.
Yeah. So I think those are probably quite high quality dates. I think those ones you picked up weren't particularly high quality.
Well, they were from Lidl.
They were from Lidl. Little dates, don't have them. Don't ever have them. No. Yeah, with the stones in them. Yeah. Sorry, Julie, love. But that's the truth of the matter. I had to throw the whole thing away. The whole thing. I mean, they could have started to hatch
in your stomach.
In the kitchen.
In your stomach.
No, I don't care if they're hatching it. The acid will kill them.
And then they will jump out like in Alien.
But I don't want them hatching some kind of foreign bug hatching in my kitchen bin. I actually took them outside and put them in the bin outside. Disgusting. No. Oh, the problem is I really love dates. I love the flavour. It's like a toffee flavour. It's divine, and it's a great way of sweetening things. providing sweetness when you don't want to use sugar. But now, no. What were those dates called? There was some kind of really attractive packaging with like a palm tree on it.
Yeah, it was sort of like Persian, wasn't it?
Like a sort of palm tree and a sunset. That's what I'm seeing in my mind's eye. Yeah, I'm not sure what the brand was, but they were very popular. I won't talk about them anymore now I've completely put you off, Julie. Yeah, you'll have to check them. Check before you eat. Yeah, they did have a film over them, like a sort of sugary film. Probably find out that that was some kind of insect secretion. I once found like a little maggot in a walnut whip as well. So I've had insects in dates, maggot in a walnut whip, and a piece of glass in a fig roll at my granddad and granny's. And my granddad sent it to the manufacturer and got gifted a huge cardboard box, massive, full of fig rolls. So that was quite a win-win, really. Yeah. Gosh, I don't know. All these things. It's always me that gets the foreign object in food. Always. I don't know why. The bit of twig, the bit of herb that hasn't broken down, and I get put off quite quickly by those kind of things. Now, I don't mind so much if there's a bug on something because you can remove it and wash it, you know. It is food contamination journey, definitely. Yeah, I like grapes as well, but they've got to be washed. What else? I'm sure there was something else that I had, that I found in something. I did eat a fly once on a lollipop because it was stuck to it. And my mum said, oh, just eat it. So I did. It was fine. No, Claire, that was a turkey. That was a turkey. Yeah. The head of the turkey had been stuffed in to the neck. It hadn't been removed. So that's what she found. Yeah. And I remember her screaming. It was quite a shock. Yeah. Yeah. Cake pops with dates. Yeah, they're a real no-no. Totally. It was a turkey and it was at Christmas time. Yeah. Yeah. And she became totally irrational and thought that there was a baby turkey inside the turkey. And I said, but turkeys lay eggs, don't they? Do they lay eggs? Do they lay eggs, Paul?
Yeah. Turkeys, yeah.
Yeah.
And bunnies.
Like rabbits.
Yeah.
Yeah. There you go. That was it. That was it. Oh. Ooh, earwigs. Yeah. They're creepy. Yeah, there you go, Claire. She was hysterical. It was quite a shock, I think, finding that. But yeah, I don't know. Oh, I know, Linny. Oh. But this is what happens when you become irrational through a shock. So yeah, I'm trying to think of a time I've been irrational because of a shock. Have I ever been irrational because of a shock, Paul?
You're irrational most times.
I'm not irrational. I'm very logical. Oh no. Gosh, that's horrendous. You hear these stories of bunches of bananas having tarantulas and things in them, don't you? Yeah.
When I don't like putting my hand in a
No.
fresh banana box.
No, why would you? No. No, 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 no. So there you go. So we are on 55 minutes. We're going to start tying up now. Yeah. I mean, giblets and all of that.
Make good gravy.
Look, if you're going to eat meat, then, you know, eat everything. I used to love a steak and kidney pie. Paul used to do chicken liver pate, liver in onions and gravy. We used to eat that as kids. I was quite happy to eat it. Brain I've never had. I think I've had heart. I've had tongue. But now the thought, I mean, just saying it actually makes me want to gag. But, you know, if you're going to kill an animal, don't waste it. Do you know what I'm saying? Really? Well, you see, Leslie, I don't think that's irrational. Oh, Claire, don't remind me of that. Well, that was your fault. It wasn't a Sunday dinner. It was mince and gravy.
Was it on the side?
No, it was. No, I was holding it. Claire sat next to me and I knocked and the whole thing slid onto the floor. It was like a shepherd's pie type thing. It was potatoes with mince and gravy. And the whole thing slid onto the floor. I was furious because I love food. Yeah. Irrationally afraid of heights. I don't think it's irrational, Leslie, because heights are dangerous. Yeah. Eat me. I've missed a few comments. Your dog ate a bat that the cat threw up. Oh, gosh. That's crazy. I just decided, Debbie Ann, that I no longer wanted to eat dead animals. That's it. And no. Well, Jeanette, I do like to provide a variety of chat subjects. Hello, Lucy. Hi, Jill. Exactly, Derek. People did eat everything. Just checking the comments. Tripe, yeah. Wow. That's very true, Jade. Thank you, Sally. Glad you're enjoying it. Roadkill. Well, yeah. I mean, if you're going to eat meat, like I say, eat it, you know, and enjoy it, but eat it all. I mean, when we used to have chicken and turkey, things like that, we would boil the carcass and make a broth to turn into a soup, you know. So we would always make the most of it. Yeah. Right. One time. Number 10 is Sally RS. Number 9 is Ali. Number 8 is Sarah M. Number 7 is Tony Jones. Number 6 is Stacy. Number 5 is Derek. Number 4 is David. Number 3 is Jeanette. Number 2 is Catherine. And number 1 is Leslie. Well done. I'm not sure how it's worked out, but hey. Thank you, Derek. Okay, so I'm going to say goodbye now. Topics do move fast here, but you know, that's the whole nature of this show. It's stream of consciousness. We just get into a bit of a flow and talk about whatever, whenever. Glad you enjoyed it. Well, you know, it wouldn't be a chat without you guys, because if you weren't here, I'd just be sat here talking to myself at the screen, and that would just be totally weird. I am totally weird sometimes. Yeah. So have a good weekend. We'll see you on Sunday for Sunday chat.
Sunday chat.
And if you've not watched this week's offerings, then work your way through the week. We've got lots of things on offer this week. Hope you have enjoyed those videos, and thank you if you have watched them. We really appreciate it. So we've had our dinner, Helen. We've had pasta. We had that earlier. Thanks, Claire. Bye for now. So I'm going to put the phone down first. I am. Take care, everybody. Thank you so much. Bye for now. Glad you enjoyed it. Thank you.